We've been following Justin for quite a while. We have followed all the results he's built over the years in karting. So at least for the last couple of years, we've kind of seen what he's been able to do in different Rotax classes and so forth in Jamaica. But we've also seen how he's like expanded his reach into Florida and really been very, very competitive and won a series and lots of races in the US as well. And most lately, we saw him actually go for the first time to a car racing school this past winter. And we saw some really, really good characters in what Justin was showing. Especially his determination, his will to really want this, the focus he had was absolutely great to see. And maybe most telling was his competitiveness. One of the things that you can really see with Justin is that when he's behind somebody, when he sees somebody in front of him, he goes flat out. His focus and determination to catch that next competitor is just absolutely mind blowing to watch. He does make some really, really smart decisions while his racing as well. Racing is always about calculating risks. You can make some very courageous moves, and sometimes you make them and sometimes you don't make them. The trick is to make them most of the time, and Justin is really good at judging that. Now, a lot of what comes into the future and having a future in racing and building a career around it is obviously around talent. But what most people think about talent is that they just think about it's about being able to go fast. But talent is really about a lot more than just being able to race fast. Especially in the Formula car class where the cars are so sensitive to setups, the ability to communicate with your engineers, what you feel in the car, so the engineers can really help the driver set up the car in the best possible way so it fits that individual track. And the communication skills we've seen from Justin combined with how we are teaching effective communication with inside the Global Racing Group program is really coming to fruition. So we're seeing some very promising and very strong elements when Justin interacts with his team. The other element that is interesting, when Justin started with the team, he was 14 years old. At the end of the day, the drivers in a professional race team, they develop themselves really as leaders. They have to be the mental leaders that encourage their mechanics, encourage their engineers, and so forth. So stepping up from that kart discipline where it has mostly been, they've been there as kids, they've been there with their parents and so forth. Now suddenly they have to step up and really be leaders and demonstrate leaderships and motivate their team. And that's a very important aspect that Justin is also just stepping into now. It's a big feat coming as 14 years old, now 15, and stepping up from being, a kid that races karts and does it really well, to suddenly be a leader that has to motivate, drive mechanics and engineers and the rest of the team. We're also making some great steps forward with Justin's talent relative to public relations, social media, and so forth. Because all of these things are elements that really play in when it comes to become a true racing professional. And finally, we got to realize that business is just a big part of this. These things don't come together by themselves. There's lots of business aspects in this. It's a costly sport, obviously, to be in. But success also pays off really well at the end of the day. But right now, it's very important that Justin and the rest of the drivers through our development programs really build that business acumen. Being able to sit down and have discussions with business people. Again, huge step forward for a 15-year-old to sit suddenly at the table and discuss business deals with organizations throughout North America. It's really, really interesting. Now, Justin obviously has a fantastic future ahead of him. There's no doubt that since day one that we started interacting with Justin, one of the things that is super important to him is Jamaica. He is a really, really proud Jamaican, and he is determined to represent Jamaica in everything that he does. He's very keen that the car that he races expresses his heritage. You can see it the way his paint scheme is on his helmet, and the way that he interacts and really wants to go about things. He really, really wants to represent Jamaica. And we think that he's found the right spot to actually take his career to the next level. F4 is an FIA class, the International Motorsports Association's class, and there are races all over the world in this class. So as you step up from F4, you go to F3, from F3 you go to F2, from F2 you go to F1. But there's quite a few steps that needs to be taken there, and it's important that they're being taken in the right order. You don't want to jump to the next class too fast. You want to make sure that you're ready for it. And as we build and develop Justin for those next steps, we are obviously going to continue to train and develop them in all the disciplines that I talked about before. One of the ways that we are, for instance, going to do that is we will be looking at probably next year to take Justin and start doing some benchmarking against drivers from other parts of the world, and he'll start getting, exposed and benchmarked to more direct driver development in Europe and Asia and other places. Now, obviously, this carries investments. We, as Global Racing Group, have obviously decided that we want to invest in Justin. We want to be, really behind building his career and building on his talent and help him get to the next level. But we obviously need more support. I think it's a fantastic opportunity for anybody who's keen to help represent Jamaica in the rest of the world to really get up and stand behind Justin and be part of this journey, be part of this dream, and not only be part of the dream, but obviously get some good payback in terms of exposure. That type of exposure, always relevant, always dependent on the individual business, but we are determined to work with Justin and making sure that any supporters and backers he brings with him, that we build the absolute best type of exposure relative to what they're looking for. We do have business partners and business contacts throughout the world, and we help create that exposure. It's one of the things that probably sets Global Racing Group apart from many other teams. We're not only, developing the driver aspect and going racing, we are developing the full package of what a professional driver needs. And as such, we also work with all the right contacts around the world and have a real strong business advisory board behind us. Finally, I know that the mentors for our team, Roman Grosjean, who races for the Haas F1 team, he's very eager to continue following Justin and supporting Justin and our other drivers. So I hope you'll get behind Justin as well. We are truly behind him, and he has a great future ahead of him.